this is what I ended up with. Now I'm going to do the other end of it. So I was going to make, one of the things I was going to do is make a wizard's head and a handle that doubles back. And then when I'm done, if I can find it, I'll weld them together and I'll have a full length modern lid lifter. So let's switch gears. Do I have time? Yeah, I got time. We're going to do a wizard head. I don't think I brought one to show you what I'm aiming for. So whatever I end up with is what I'm aiming for. So all I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a point. So point and taper, right? I like to do it in that order. I'll put a point on the end and then I'll taper it back to however long my taper I want. And that's a really good method for me. Because if you start way back here and make a taper, you're going to end up with a taper that long. 1 inch of material tapered is about 4 times as long as what you started out. So 1 inch. Any given length. So 1 inch would end up being potentially 4 inches long. After I put the taper on it, I'm going to make a set of eye sockets. And to do that, I'll walk this around while that's still warm. To do that, I'll use what's called, what we, in Chattanooga, they call a fanny punch. You can see why. And that'll press down the eye sockets, but leave the nose raised up. I'll drive that straight down into the material.
It's almost like a double ball.
Yeah. Looks like somebody's standing. In Chattanooga, I learned how to do this in Chattanooga. There's a lot of different ways of making a wizard or a troll, or this is just one way. So point and taper. Point. I don't want to make it real sharp because this is going to end up, I'll have to curl it over anyway. Keep it from catching things. Now I'm drawing my taper back a little bit.
It's over there. Yeah, I have the keys.
Looking down on it, I can see where there's wide spots, and that's where I come, when I turn it 90, that's where I'll hit it, make it thinner. Hammered that awful cold. I was working it pretty cold. You can work. You don't really want to forge when it's cold, but you can flatten and planish and do a lot of making it looking good when it's colder, dark heat. So all I'm doing is knocking the edges down, not making them sharp. Sorry, making them not as sharp. So that's all I've done. Make the corners down. Inch and a quarter. You can make it as long or as short as you want. This is their hat. This is going to be their hat, like a sorcerer's hat.
Mm-hmm.
There's many different ways you can, many different series or the order of things you can do. I used to put the eyes in then, and then do the nose, and then do the set down for the chin, and do the beard, and put the mouth in last. I have a hard time finding 45 degrees on the anvil, so I mark myself a line on the corner. I want a sharp corner, and that's what I'm going to set down the chin, under the chin. That's in preparation for a step down the road. One of the things about making these punches or any punches, they're not always exactly square and true. And I know this one is not. If you look at it, one side's larger than the other. And if I hold this thing where I think the nose should be in the center, the nose will be pointing off in a different direction. So I'll take it slow and easy when I'm placing it, and I'll tap it. And if it looks good, I'll keep putting it in that same spot and orientation. But if it's off to one side or the other, I'll adjust before I go deep. So I know this punch, so I'm holding it, adjusting for it already. I've gone too far, I'm moving it back this way. Pretty close now, and you can feel where you had it, so now you can just go hit it. Notice that I'm taking my time and hitting it, and looking, and then hitting it, and looking. I'm gonna get a little more heat in there, and hit it 1 or 2 more times. So this is depressing the eye socket area, but leaving the nose prominent. One of the hardest parts of doing this wizard is setting that chin down and getting it true and square and not off to one side or the other. That's why I draw myself a 45, and this has got really nice sharp angle. I like that. Some of my handles at home don't. Thank you. I'm brushing to get all of that scale out of there so that when I do leave it, when I do bottom out, it's nice and clean. So all it took was one good hit, and that was it. So this is hot, this is hot. So that's what I ended up with. Makes the side of the face bulge out, leaves the nose sticking out, and the eye socket's pushed in. I'll put eyeballs in there in a little bit. So I'm done with that one. I have what some people call an eyeball punch now. Basically, it's a round punch, but in the end, there's a depression where either a BB's been pushed in or it's been drilled out and then ground down so that you have soft edges. So it's just it looks hollow, but when you use it for an eyeball, it leaves it spherical shape on the outside like an eyeball is. I'll use that in a little bit. This is a use this for an organizing table. I'm going to set down the area of the chin, and it's going to take some time to get it right, unless I get lucky. So, ready? I'm trying to get it in the center. Now I'm lining up on that 45, one lick, and I'm seeing if I got it close enough. And I'm off to one side a little bit. So I'm going to tap it ever so slightly and hit it again. And that's a lot closer. So I'm going to drive that down now on that corner while I'm holding that 45 straight. And that'll be the beginning of this beard and mustache. You can do that with a punch if you wanted to instead of the anvil. But the anvil don't miss. If you get it positioned correctly, it'll be in the right spot. Okay. As I said, there's different ways, different orders you can do things in, so I'm making my choices as I go. Because you got to make them all eventually. I'm just trying to figure out which ones will be easier and look best. One really doesn't impact the other, except the mouth. The mouth I need to do last. I need to do it last. And I have a punch through it. So I'm going to put the eyeballs in. and I'm gonna put I'm gonna start splitting out the mustache. When you go to split out the mustache, don't go with the edge of your chisel, don't go very far towards the center. Keep it out towards the outside of the bar. And that's because when you do that, you have less material, and if you work it for very long after that, it'll break off, which I had happen recently. Be prepared. Get all that scale out of there. In the center of those eye socket areas, put the eyeballs. If you got a perfect eyeball punch, you can just hit it straight down. Mine isn't, so I turn it as I tap it at the end, and that makes all the eyeball and the ring around it is all even that way. And I like to put a pupil in it, and this is dangerous because it's really hard for me to see. So, especially with a big old fat end on your center punch. So sometimes I get a cross-eyed lizard.
Maybe he just had a spell go wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
This one's looking up, one eye up and one eye out.
I think I know that guy.
All right. So, in retrospect, I moved the chin is over to one side. It's got more bush on his beard, and that'll come out in the end. It'll look like it's handmade.
From this
And then
angle,
you can see the eyeball and the pupils.
from that angle, you can already see the shape of the face.
Yep. So you got the face beginning to take shape. Everybody's different. Some people like a square, some people like round. I've got a diamond shape. Rhomboid, what do you want to call it? I'll show you. I got it. That's why I do it very light, so I know exactly where it needs to go, and it doesn't impact anything else. So it can be like a smile. This will be the shape of his mouth, and I'm getting ready to make it wide and short. All right, I'm going to start cutting out his whiskers, and when I mean his mustache. When you do this, you need to cut out. Literally, when you go down with your chisel and you have bevel on the bottom of it, you want to angle it towards the edge. So what happens then is that the edge gives way, and it shaves that material out and pushes it out and shears it both sides, and then you have a little bit of it's a very sharp edge. You can roll that up, but you don't want your angles to be like this. You want them to be like this, and it'll split out the top surface when your chisel goes in and goes slide sideways. So I'm chiseling straight down. When you look at this in a minute, you're going to see where that chisel is slid to the side. It's still hot. But you can see the bottoms of the whiskers that I'll end up turning. And I'm trying not to cut all the way through up there at the top. I like to leave that material there to reinforce it. So there's also a beard involved, so I'm going to use a straight chisel to chisel straight down and make the representation of the beard. An interesting story. Chattanooga, they made trolls out of everything. Of course, they're their shop is at the railroad museum, so they started making them out of railroad spikes and using the head as a spike as their feet, so they actually cut them into feet. 2 feet from the head, flat, and then they drill a hole in it, or punch a hole in it, and put a belly button, put a rivet in it for a belly button, and big old troll, about 16 inches tall, and they call it the Tennessee troll. Chattanooga. Right. So we'll do this without. I gotta do the nose yet too, I forgot that. So I'm gonna start marking it for beard. And we're gonna cut these out a little further. Cold. Too hot, too cold. Can't make up my mind.
You're trying to find a sweet spot.
Can't hear it, still hurts me. So I forgot, I need to do the nose as well. I got a nose punch. And if you're gonna do a different size troll, you need different size tools. So this is size for a small one, but this is a nose punch. It's just 2 prongs sticking out. And that's the easiest thing to mess up, that particular punch process. You gotta get it in the right place, the right time. All right. Whiskers, mustache, a little bit.
Did you need to remember about the round chisel?
Sorry?
Did you need to remember about the round chisel for the whiskers so the beard doesn't have that stress?
I don't do it on this one, it's not being used as a tool or something like that.
Okay.
That's part of the reason I stay away from the center thing. It's because if I go and work on the other end of it, it's doing this every time I hit it. It'll break right off, and that happened within the last week or so. And do the nose. So for the nose, I just get outboard of that steady punch mark, go straight down the low, and then I turn it. Ooh, that didn't turn out real well. These get hot real quick.
Oh, you made all your punches?
Yeah. So I punch straight down, and then I try to push it up, which would push that nose up, and one of my 2 nose nostril things turned.
So you basically went down and then had it back.
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah. Gotta remember to keep this cool. Exactly. muzzles are so sharp, I like to roll them all the way back till they touch. Those are pinpoint sharp.
Oh, that's excellent. Actually, it looks almost
Cutting things, whether I'll damage my chisel or my hand or. I normally don't have to do this part of it because I have a cutting plate and I can cut right down through it. Scroll those and be done with it. So this looks like a little long face whizzer. Sometimes you can make them shorter. That's how I make them shorter. They work out so well today. But they don't look, none of them look bad, really. Each one's individual. So I'm gonna roll those whiskers up until they touch, and then I'm gonna set them up. Push them off. Right, I'm gonna see if I can get the mouth started, if not finished. I'm not gonna do that when I first start in. So I'll put the mouth just below the nose. Almost there. I'll scrub the, made a mistake. I was gonna make the handle, the actual flat part of the handle, before I made the whizzer. So I may do a different type of handle. Just because I don't wanna be beating on that thing and having to do this up there on the end.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. That would,
I forgot about that part.
I mean, forge welding that together now, would you take a chance of breaking that off?
There we go. A normal wizard, like for a keychain, I'd have made that a lot longer, and then I'd have a real fine tip I could roll over to go through the keychain, over the keychain. I'll probably roll that over a little bit, but every time I hammer it cold now, I could be making myself problems. So, force weld to this one. All right, looking with force weld, Father, you'll pray for me. Yes, thank you. Just trying to make it not so sharp. I left a lot of material down here by the mouth and in the base of the whiskers to help myself later on when I would have hammered on the other ends. Right. So I'm gonna let that cool a bit. Forge weld. So forge weld. If you're gonna do forge weld in the middle of the bar, you need to upset both ends of the bar that you're gonna forge weld together. That's because when you go to hit on it and it's so soft at forge welding temperature, you'll end up with a 3/8 bar with a forge weld that's 1/4 inch. And it's really soft when it's that hot. So I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna upset it. I won't upset anyone near as long as I upset the other one. But I'm gonna upset both sides, the handle side and the fork side or the tying side. I hadn't done a forge weld in a while, so I was serious about praying. All right, so forge weld, do it, upset it. If you're gonna forge weld in the middle of the bar, upset both ends, scarf them, which still needs them upset, bigger. Then when you scarf them, we're gonna scarf them in a way that they'll be extra thick right there, and then when I hit down on them, I'll be end up being able to thin it down to the original dimension in both directions. So we're gonna have a mass right there, a big bulge. I've got it jumped up a little bit. Where's that other one? I let that cool off quite a bit before I quenched it. They say it's a bad idea to quench hot stuff in modern steel because you might have a hard spot, a high carbon spot. And it's this way. All right, everybody know how to do a scarf? I'll show you how you do it. If this turns out a success, I plan on putting it in the iron and so I'm hammering back towards myself, start my scarf. Narrowing it. But I'm upsetting too well. So it's thicker this way, lighter that way. Just one minute. Now, I have to clean the starter before I do a full joint. No, let's try it. Let's see how successful. Pay attention to what I'm doing here. Which way I'm starting. I don't want to have to put twist in it if I don't have to. This thing. Finish this scarf. Narrow the tip. Soft. then just the very edge, tip, I mean. So you see it slowed up side to side? It's also thicker right here, but a real thin tip and a real ramped edge. It's gonna have another piece just exactly like it that it will match up to.
A mirror image.
Mirror image. Good process. Take your time, upset it, and you end up with a good looking product at the end. Keep it warm. Do something here. No matter which way this goes, okay, that's fine. So narrow. I want the scarf to be on the front of the back of the face. This guy. What I'm doing back here is I'm making that tip real thin. Right. Same thing, looks almost identical. That's my mirror image.
Why is it so thin? Why does it have to be thin up here?
If you don't have a thin tip, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the top piece and drive it down into the bottom piece, and that always leaves a gap. You won't have a weld all the way across that bar. You'll only have it part way through, correct? Incorrect. Is there any other reason? That's the main reason.
If that edge welds in really nice, then the weld won't fail. That's gonna be the first point of failure on your weld.
Right. I'm getting ready to flux them. And what I'll do is I'll brush them, flux them, put them back in the fire. And then we'll be watching them. How many of you all done a forge welding before? Yeah. Good. Good, several. Good. So what we'll be watching for in the fire is we will be watching for that wet surface, and then maybe the bubbles underneath that look like bacon cooking. That's what I look for. And you cannot forge weld without a wet looking surface. It's just not liquid. You need the surface to be slightly liquid, just a little bit of wet. I always say a billionth of an inch. Okay, being liquid on the surface. All four sides. Flux the whole thing liberally. This is the flux that has little shavings of steel in it.
Little magic in it.
A lot of prayer, too.
Especially here.
Sounds like the voice of experience.
I'm taking a risk. Didn't clean the fire. So, all right, get this out of the way. What we're going to do is we're going to weld this more than once. So I may use that flux over there over the fire in a minute. But I'm going to come out of the fire, and one side's going to go down, the other side's going to go on top of it, and I'll have my hammer ready for rock and roll, and close that up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap 3 times on one side, center, further out, closer to the tip, flip it over. If it takes, flip it over, center, closer to the tip, right on the tip. Do that on both sides. If you can get the tip, the thin edge, to match the color of the other side, that's a pretty good indication that you got that part of the level. Right.
If you think about it, Say the other one, say the other one.
Heat it again. Take that, Ryan Robinson.
Man,
Wow.
some people don't forget, huh?
Prescott could do it.
It'll be all right.
I'm gonna get this good. I don't even know what happened because I was spraying some.
Rare matter.
Natural going forward.
Who do you have for a teacher?
Now I got the pressure. What's that?
I said, who do you have for a teacher?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jack Wheeler. I don't know.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna weld it again, same way, and I'm gonna weld these sides and the top and bottom until I get them, well, it's actually gonna weld. Every time I hit it, and get stronger and stronger and stronger. Then I'm gonna draw it out the same width, sideways and top and bottom, and then I'm gonna knock edges down, and that'll be ready to do the rest of it. All right, coming up.
Yeah.
Ron, watch out.
Thank you.
We're not doing the fourth one, 'cause they're kind of messed up. We got grounded, right?
So I've got a quick hammer because it's getting cool. And once you've made that forge weld, you don't want to hammer it when it's cold. So we're gonna warm it up, and I'm gonna dress it up one last time, straighten it out. And then I'll go figure out how to make the tines into the appropriate shape, and then I'll put the handle on top. All I'm gonna do there is just cut the edges down and
Now, with that being the forge weld, could you still do a twist in that with that forge weld?
you could.
I mean, you're taking a chance.
But if you want to do that, you better make it forge welding temperature. So it's going to be a real fast twist.
Yeah.
General. All right. Quick before you make it too thin. Not going to quench that. Next step is to just turn these tines into something that'll pick up that cover. Now, I may not make this exactly right for this cover because this is a small loop, and if you got a piece of Latsch cookware, it'll be a bigger loop, and so you may end up having to adjust these tines if you get this in iron. Remember, that's hot. So I'll put the finial on the center one first and draw a hook on it. That's the one I'm going to use to hook the handle. So it's shorter. In this case, it's shorter. Then I'll take the other two and they go out, so it takes up some of their length there, just going out, and then they'll go down and make their hooks. And that'll be the stabilizers on the side. That's hot. anything else, you need to make this finial a really tiny one. It's gotta go inside that loop of that handle. Oh, too far. So I'm just trying to get cool a finial and I stuck it in about that far. Can't see it very well. It's hot.
You should be able to pull that off now.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I like that. I like that sweet It'll take me very long to let loose of it. Smoke stone. Well, that's why I cooked it. All right, okay, that's hot. All right. Back to stroking.
And why don't you cool that off?
So, as you know, so that when I hit it, it wouldn't change shape. But that's good call. I cooled that off so that when I hit that finial, I didn't have a flat finial in the end. Good question. All right, so that does a good job of hooking it. Now these will be the outriggers, if you want to call them that. It's really hard to get them set out at the same distance, so I started slow and finished strong, which is good advice for some processes. I have a saying, I've taught some people, if you do things slow, you make mistakes slow. So sometimes I start out slow. So I make, if I'm going to make a mistake, I make it rather slow. I'm using the side of the anvil, yes, I realize. But it is an anvil nonetheless. So I'm going to use the horn as my guide to how far out I'm going to make my tines go. Put it on the horn in the same spot. You're going to end up being pretty close. So I put it on the same spot on that horn. When I bent this side, when I went and bent the other side, I put it in the same spot and you get the same distance more or less. And that's what I was after. It's 13, 16, 17. It's not a measure. It's just me.
Bud, what are you tearing up in there?
Alright, so now I'm going to put finials on both of these. They got to start out going the same direction as the big hook here, because I'm going to bend them in the opposite direction. I'm going to bend the hooks in the opposite direction. So put a finial towards the big hook on the opposite side. Is that right?
Or is there like, could you do manual wax if you want to, or is it just have to brush?
Some people do the last. I'm not that good.
Why is one now sort of like a reason for the order in which you're doing?
For me, it's easier, but for you, it might not be. I know a guy that used to make hooks by the hundreds and by the thousands, and he would make the finial last. We got this spoon up now. Notice that I'm moving it a lot, moving it around a lot. And that's because I don't want to hit it in the same spot twice. It's perfect. I hit the same spot twice, I have a flat spot on my scroll. That's good advice no matter what type of scroll you're making. Those are about the same size, both sides. Now hook goes down. And I won't really make a full hook. I'm gonna make a half hook. I've gotten so far out, I've used up some of the length that I was gonna make hooks on. And again, I'm gonna use a horn. I'm gonna turn the hook after I cool the finials. I'm gonna turn the hook on one side. I'm gonna run around the anvil and turn the other one on the same spot on that horn. But I gotta do it on the other side of the anvil. Just be aware. Just set it up. Not quite exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
when you pull it back, you'll have control of it, a little more control of it. And those are small enough and short enough, they can be adjusted if your pan's different. One piece is a little high. And, all right. All that's left is to turn the handle. I'm gonna turn this down and turn this up. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that's perfect. Turn this up and then turn the handle down. Have to keep track. Difference between quenching and cooling. Notice how long I leave this in the water. That's cooling. Quenching is when you dunk it in there and leave it. Let's stick with one. That hot list.
Here's one right here.
Perfect. getting ready to hit him in the face. No? I'm getting ready to hit him in the backside, so I'll still use a wood mallet. I was thinking I was gonna have to hit him in the face, and I didn't want to mark him with a steel hammer.
He's been helpful, why got him in the face?
I was like, you've been doing a good job.
John, when he gave him the hammer, when he was hit you with it.
I'm showing it. The wizards in it. So I'm just gonna bend it over for the handle part. I'm not gonna do anything special with the handle. But I'm gonna flip that wizard's face so he's looking at you when you're going to use it. Probably use the vice to bend that handle using that point.
Come on.
All right, we're almost there. Just using vice as a bending jig. Not touching that thing. All right. Normally I would flatten that handle out, give it a little more surface for your hand to use. Today I'm cutting it a little short. Every time I hit it, I'm making sure that that guy is off the handle. I'm just trying to keep two things up. Normally I would put a wax finish on this. Unless you want to watch me do it, I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it if you want me to. I'm talking beads on since it's melted down. You be away from the fire to catch that. Check your work. Might need to spread those out a little bit. We'll push it down a little more. When you go to bend something, make sure you hit over air. If you don't hit over air, you're going to be drawing it. Which way is better? 2 times up, 2 times down. Whoever gets it can change it. All right, so we did a forward weld with a clinker.
Oh, man.
And we don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. No. I got lucky. We prayed a lot. Anyway, that's a lid lifter that I made today.
Yeah.
Do you want a one mark on it? I did bring my mark.
Yes.
Put a mark.
Absolutely.
Just put it up here on the high.